Here's a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. It's actually a compilation of speeches that the Rebbe gave, but all of them were in 1991. Right in just before or after Tisha B'Av. It says the speeches come from the Rebbe of Lubavitch, the King Moshiach, Okay, that's the idea of Mashiach. Mashiach is a very basic thing in Judaism, and it comes from this whole idea of Moses. Moses taking the Jews out of Egypt. So we see we need a great leader in order to get the Jewish people to act like Jewish people. And that's why the first of the 10 commandments is, I am God that took you out of Egypt, just as God took us out of Egypt by means of a person, Moses. And so God will take us out of this exile that we're in now, that we don't know who we are and we don't know what God is. We don't what our purpose is in the world. We get confused. God is going to take us out of this exile by means of Mashiach. And the main thing of Mashiach is education. And that's why some people say the Lubavitcher Rebbe is the Mashiach. Educate the Jews to do Torah and commandments, like God said. Jewish identity. Yomim Elu, these days. Okay. These days, well, Befrat, especially, we're now going into Shabbat, Tisha B'Av. But when the Rebbe was speaking, Tisha B'Av was on Shabbat. By us, Tisha B'Av is going to be immediately after Shabbat, Motzei Shabbat. In any case, these days are special days for the arrival of Mashiach. Now, again, like I say, if you read the Bible, you'll see that the Jewish people would never have left Egypt if it wasn't for Moses. If it wasn't for Moses, they would have never left Egypt. And if it wasn't for Moses, they would have returned back to Egypt. They made trouble for Moses all the time. But nevertheless, the Jewish people don't want to do what God wants them to do, because God wants them to do these very difficult things totally against nature. And there has to be a Moses, to inspire the Jews and to teach the Jews and to lead the Jews, and to direct the Jews. There has to be a Moses. And our generation, and since Moses, we're waiting for Mashiach. Mashiach is supposed to come. King David, Maimonides says King David was the first Mashiach, and that we're waiting for Mashiach ben David, Mashiach, the son of David. We're waiting for Mashiach. But there has to become this person. If the person does not arrive and start doing his job, then we're going to stay in exile. And we're assured that it's not going to be that way. Mashiach for sure is going to come. It's one of the 13 principles of Jewish faith. Mashiach is going to come, for sure. Maimonides even says, and even though he might delay, but still I will believe in him. Mashiach. So it's going to be a person. The person is going to bring all the Jews back to the Torah, going to build the third temple, and he's going to bring all the Jews back to the Holy Land, the temple. It's okay. Says the Rebbe, these days, especially the days after Tisha B'Av, they are propitious to bring Mashiach, for the arrival of Mashiach. Nosaf al Kain, in addition to the fact that this is a very ikar, this is one of the basic foundations of Jewish faith, ani mamin, that I will wait for Mashiach every day that he should come. I should be very disappointed if Mashiach does not come, because Mashiach is going to wake the Jews up. What does it mean that Mashiach should come every day? And especially now, we spoke in last words, it means that, Perusha, what does it mean every day? It means that immediately. A call to all the signs of redemption, Mashiach is supposed to come immediately. It's not that he's going to come any day now. It means that Mashiach is supposed to be here right now. And if he's not here now, I'm disappointed. That fact that Mashiach has not yet come is not understood at all. There's a story told by the Kloisenberger Rebbe. Rebbe Halberstrom. He was in the Holocaust, he lost his whole family. He had 11 children, and his wife and her family. They were all exterminated in the Holocaust. He wrote a letter to when anyway, they were all exterminated in the Holocaust. When Eichmann ran away to Argentina, so the Israelis, they kidnapped him and they brought him back to Israel for trial. They brought him back to Israel for trial as Argentina was very angry. And they had him, the Rabbi Halberstam, write a letter to the Prime Minister of Argentina. It didn't help. The Prime Minister of Argentina, and he said that this man was responsible for the death of my 11 children, my wife, and her extended family, and also my whole extended family. Altogether, approximately 250 people were murdered by this man. So you cannot expect that I should not demand revenge. Nevertheless, it didn't work at all. It didn't work at all. I mean, to kill Jews is not such, big deal. You kill Jews, If the Jews kill somebody else, this is a terrible thing, right? But to kill the Jews, not such a big deal. I mean, basically, that's the way it is in the world, the United Nations. The blacks in Africa are killing each other like flies. Who cares? Why would we care about? It's not me. Right? The world is a cruel, terrible, terrible place. The world is a terrible place. Okay, what are we going to do? That's the way the world is. But so the Kloisenberger Rebbe. I'm sorry, I got derailed. The Kloisenberger Rebbe. They asked him. He was in the Holocaust, and he suffered there terribly. There's a lot of very strange stories about him. I'll tell one when we finish today. And they asked him. They interviewed him. And by the way, he got out. He got out of the Holocaust, and he got remarried, and he had 11 children. He had 11 children from that. But of course, that doesn't, comfort him. All the children that he lost. So they said to ask him, what was the hardest, what was the most disappointing or the most difficult thing that happened to you when you were in the Holocaust? If you don't want to answer, you don't answer. So I'll tell you, the most disappointing thing, the most terrible, torturous moment that I was there in the Holocaust was when the Americans freed us. That was the biggest disappointment, So when the Americans freed you, that was a disappointment. He said, yes, after what we went through, I was certain that Moshiach would be the one that would redeem us. Certain. So that's what the Rebbe said. If he didn't understand it for sure, I don't understand it. The Rebbe was speaking now, 30, 40 years after the Kloisenberger Rebbe got out. All the trouble and all the pain and suffering of the Jewish people, and the Jewish people still believe in God. Why is it Mashiach doesn't come? Okay. So it says, what happened? Did I skip something over there? Yeah, okay. Harizeh, Mudgas, it's stressed even more in the days of the month of Av. The Mashiach has to come any moment. Kireita b'midrash, like it says in the Midrash, Allah Aryeh b'mazal Aryeh v'hichriv Ariel. It says there came up a lion in the constellation of the zodiac, Aryeh, that's Aries. The Chodesh HaChamish, that's the 5th month of the year. Hichriv Ariel, and he destroyed the Ariel. Now the Aryeh, the lion that came up in the month of the lion and destroyed the Ariel, the building that was like a lion, it's the Beit HaMikdash. The Holy Temple was called the Ariel because it's a little bit bigger in the front than the back. It looks like a lion, and the lion has the big mane, in front and back. It's called. So it says the lion, that's Nebuchadnezzar, and he came in the month of Aryeh, that's the month of Av. That's the zodiac of that month, this coming month. This present month, no. At Ariel, and he destroyed the Holy Temple, which is also called a lion. Ki almanat, but why was that? Why did it happen? This says in the Midrash. Why? In order there should come a lion, that's God, in the month of Aryeh, that's the month of that will be transformed to good. Yivneh Ariel, and he will rebuild the Holy Temple. Kolomar, in other words, that the month of Av was the month that the temple was destroyed, and it will be the month that the temple will be revealed, the 3rd temple. Mikdash Hashem Kohen Yodecha, the temple of God. Your hands itself will establish. That's why, according to one opinion, it's written in the Talmud also that the 3rd temple will come from heaven. Maimonides says that it'll be that we'll build it. And so there's different ways to fit all those different opinions together so that they make sense. But they do make sense after all. They do make sense. Either the physical temple will be here and the spiritual temple will be inside of it, or maybe we'll just lift up the doors of the temple, or maybe the work that we're doing is all the work of the suffering and all the time of exile. However it is, for sure, Mashiach, one of the first things he'll do is build a temple, third temple. He'll educate the Jewish people, bring them all together and build a temple. Even more. This is the intention and the condition why God destroyed the temple. He destroyed the temple in order for Almanat, on the condition that it was going to build the third temple. The first temple and the second temple were destroyed. Beit HaMikdash, B'chodesh were destroyed in this month in order that it should be rebuilt in this month. Kamudgash, like it's also stressed in the name of the month. So the Rebbe is not just talking, religious things and religious ideas, nice ideas, when he wants donations or something like that, donate to our cause. The Rebbe is saying that it's really supposed to happen, major, massive, the world transforming changes are going to come. Which in a way, if you look at it, it's not that hard to believe. It's not that hard to believe. Nowadays, especially. Here we just had this corona thing. Now it's being revealed more and more that the whole thing was just a huge manufactured bluff. And that all the precautions they took to take the masks and the shots only hurt people, but they got the world to listen. The world was all in awe. People didn't want to go outside. They didn't want to talk to each other. They closed businesses. People were starving. People were dying. They don't care. Just not anything, not to have the corona. Don't talk to people. Don't look at me. Don't even think about me. You think about me, I'll get a disease. I'll take you to court. Right? Everybody was just fearful of the corona. And there was no such thing. There was no such. The corona was really real. But the fear of it was even more. The fear of it was even worse. So, and this whole thing was manufactured by the World Health Organization or whatever that they made, and the whole thing was. So you see that the world is ruled by lies. The world is ruled by just obvious, visceral lies. Incredible. It's just really incredible. So it's not hard to believe that maybe the world can be ruled by truth, huh? Maybe the world can be ruled by truth. But we talked about a drug addict, a drug that he can't imagine. How can I get along without the drugs? But as soon as he does, he realizes, wow, I don't know how I used to live like that. I can't believe it. Mashiach is going to bring truth to the world, how important the world is, how good God is, how close God is, how everyone is important, how every human being is good, how God loves all of his creations. The world will feel this. The world will feel dynamic and positive. That's what the world is supposed to be, and that's supposed to happen any second. Why it's not happening should make us feel bad. But it shouldn't neutralize us. It shouldn't paralyze us. It should make us think, listen, I got to do something to change this. I don't know what. I'll do something good. Doing something bad is certainly not going to change it. Getting depressed is not going to help. Kemudosh, like it says, that's the month of the month of Av. The custom of the Jewish people, we call the month is called Av. And the Jewish people added, and we call it Menachem Av, that God comforts the month of Av. Shalifnei Av, that before this month of the Torah, we put Menachem, Nechama, that God will comfort us in the redemption. He will comfort us. This month, Tovo Nechama will come redemption and Geula. That's the Menachem. Somehow or other, we will be not just comforted, but we'll even be explained. It'll be explained to us how the whole exile was infinitely good. How it was something, how this is going to be, I don't know. It's going to be something that I have no idea, but it's going to be a nechama al kolini of that God will come and comfort us for all of the negative things that happen. So you will comfort things that you read a B'chodesh of and Aliyah Haki Gadol, the highest of elevations that will come. Like it says, what's the highest elevation? It says, first of all, there was the lion that was Nebuchadnezzar, and he destroyed the lion in the month of the lion. He destroyed and then there's going to be the lion now is not going to be the Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the temple in order that the lion should come. Who's the lion? God himself. And he's going to come in the month of Av, and he's going to rebuild the temple. And the third temple is going to be in a whole totally different level of awareness, of revelation of God. In this month itself, it's even more powerful in the day of the 9th of Av. The 9th of Av, this is because, first of all, the day, and also in this year it came on Shabbat. Now, by us, it comes on Motzi Shabbat. So we'll have to sort of, translate this a little bit, adjust. Omer Rizal, the rabbi, said that the day of Tisha B'Av, the day that the Holy Temple was destroyed, Yolid Malchut Mashiach, the Mashiach will come. The day it was destroyed, the Mashiach was born. Where did the rabbi say this? Let's have a look. Yud Aleph in the Talmud Yerushalmi, and also in Midrash Eicha Rabbah and the Midrash Rabbah, etc. The day the temple was destroyed, Mashiach was born. The Inyan Zeh, this it repeats itself again every Tisha B'Av, the birth of the Mashiach. Since that the day that man was born, the day of a person is born, so it says that's his lucky day. The day you're born, that's your lucky day. Why is it your lucky day? Look at first glance, it's a terrible day. The soul was pure, basking in pure truth, and it came to the world that the world is terrible. It's full of pain and egotism and difficulties and frustrations. Why? It says, but nevertheless, you come into the world, you can actually serve God. And it says, that's a lucky day. You got a difficult job, but it's a good job. Nimsa, so it comes out Tisha B'Av, that the Tisha B'Av, mitkaber mazlo shel Mashiach. The Mashiach is born on Tisha B'Av, so it comes out that the Tisha B'Av is the lucky day for Mashiach. This is a special day where the redemption can come immediately. And the redemption can come in one instant. One instant. I mean, just think for 1 second. Nowadays, for instance, in the world, more and more Jews are coming to the awareness that something totally abnormal is going on over here as far as Jews go, right? Something really weird is going on about the Jews. I mean, people hate the Jews for absolutely no reason. They invent the most bizarre reasons for hating the Jews. It started before, but now it's getting bigger. Somebody just told me that now they're hating the Jews because the Jews invented the idea that there was a Holocaust. That's a reason to hate them. All the Jews got together. All of them, they called each other on the phone or something. There was a partner call. All the Jews got together and said, listen, let's say there was a Holocaust. What do you say? Nah, people aren't going to believe it. Listen to what I'm saying. We'll say there was a Holocaust. We'll say we suffered. We suffered. I mean, our Jews that suffered, right? We're going to make the whole thing up. In fact, there was no Holocaust. They just made it up. This is insane. I mean, there were so many people, Jews, they were in towns where they rounded up specifically the Jews, and they took the Jews and they killed them. And there was the Nuremberg laws, and they killed them. No, now we have the Jews. So let's say all the Jews invented the story, right? Oh, that's a reason to hate the Jews. You have to hate the Jews for this. So the whole thing is all of a sudden becoming twisted and weird, right? Looking for some weird, unexplainable reasons, illogical, to hate the Jews. You want to say, okay, the Jews are liars, but no, you got to hate them. So all of a sudden, Jews are starting to realize that the laws of society and the laws of logic and of psychology and psychiatry, what motivates people to do things, just suddenly don't apply when the word Jew appears. As soon as it appears, all logic, you have the biggest professors in Germany, they were the biggest professors, they became the biggest anti-Semites. The Jews are inferior people, you can see by the shape of their face, so it ends up that the redemption can come in one instant. Everyone just has to wake up from their lies, and that'll be in 1 second. But when you wake up from the lies, that's step number one. What about revealing what the truth is? And the truth is that God chose the Jewish people, and that God is creating the world, and that God is creating everyone in the world from love. And God loves everybody. And people will just feel the truth. That's supposed to happen any second now. Inyan Zeh, this is relevant also to law. Like it says, there's in the books of the Arizal, it says that we say in the prayer of Nachem, it says, B'yom Tisha B'Av, on the Tisha B'Av, we say a prayer called Nachem, in Mincha prayer, because that's when the Mashiach was born. We say this prayer, Nachem, Hashem, comfort us, The Arizal, because that's when Mashiach was born. That's what we say this prayer on Tisha B'Av. Yeshlom, we can say that when Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbat, like it was in the year when the Rebbe was speaking, then the fast is pushed away to Yom Rishon. But that's the way it is this year. The fast is on the first day. As Nidchim, there's only the bad things are pushed away, and the fast and etc. But all the good things of Tisha B'Av, when it falls on Shabbat, like again, I want to stress again, this year it does not fall on Shabbat, but it's possible to push away all the bad things of Tisha B'Av, for instance, when Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbat, and there remains only the good things, namely Mashiach and changing the world for the good. The reason for this is Shekol and Yani Olam, that everything that's in the world, including also the highest, most spiritual or beneficial things in the highest levels of the creation, like the angels, like it says, or the 10 sfirot, which are above the angels, these aspects of godliness, everything was created for the sake of the Jews and for the sake of the Torah. What does it mean? The Jews are here to reveal this in the world. And the thought of the Jewish people was before the Torah. The thought of the Jews come before the Torah. The Torah was given for the sake of the Jewish people. Like it says, Savet ben Israel, command the Jewish people, speak to the Jewish people. It's not possible that the world should exist, including the existence of time, which that depends on time, depends on the sun, the moon, etc. That was created for the sake of the Jewish people. Asher tafriya or tachlish, it's impossible that time or space or whatever should be it should exist if it wasn't for the Jewish people. The whole world was created for the sake of the Jewish people, to put meaning in everything. Asher tafriya or tachlish chas v'shalom hamshachat giloy elokut. Not only can the world not exist because of the Jews, but it's impossible that the world should disturb the Jewish people. The world was created only for the Jewish people. Kolel, including how much more so? The main thing of the Jewish people, like the birth of Mashiach. It's like, let's say, a person that doesn't know how to play piano, so he plays piano. His next door neighbors are going crazy. They're going berserk. Let's get rid of the piano. So the piano is the opposite of music. Says that's not so. The piano was created only for the sake of music. That's the only reason that. The same thing, the world. The world was created here for the Jews to make music on it, to make the world perfect. That the world is terrible, it's awful, right? And the person can say, well, because the piano, I don't know how to play the piano, so I'm going to stop playing music totally. The world makes trouble for us, like a piano makes trouble for the pianist, for the person that doesn't know piano. The world makes trouble for the Jewish people. But the purpose of the Jewish people is not just not to be disturbed by the world, but to understand how to make harmony and beauty in the world. The world cannot possibly disturb the Jews because the world was created for the Jews, just like piano was created for music. How much more so when it's talking about the day of Shabbat? That's when Tisha B'Av was back then by the Rebbe. It was on Shabbat. Since that the Jewish people are the partner of Shabbat, every day has its partner. But the first day, Sunday has Monday, Tuesday has Wednesday, Thursday has Friday. What about Shabbat? Is the partner of Shabbat is the Jewish people of Shabbat. Shabbat, HaShabbat, so the Shabbat and the Jewish people, they are above and they are separated from the world, from all the days of the week. Each one of them has its partner. Let me just write this letter over here. One second, I want to write the story. Story. Okay, just don't want to forget. Okay, so Shabbat is above the days of the week. This coming Shabbat, the Shabbat is attached to the revelation of the Geula, of the future redemption, like it's expressed in the song of the day, Mizmor Shir L'Yom Shabbat. It's the song of the day of Shabbat, and it says the day of the day that's going to be totally Shabbat for the future when Mashiach comes. The Yom Shekula Shabbat. It's a day that is totally Shabbat and Menucha Chai Olamim. The future redemption is like Shabbat because there won't be any bad things. We won't have any, so to speak, we won't have to deal with any negativity. That's the day of Shabbat. We just have to appreciate the holiness. Kol Shabbat is something like this. So it's impossible that Shabbat should be pushed away, this high thing, by the Jewish people. It could be the Jewish people don't observe the Shabbat, but Shabbat itself is holy. This idea of the giving birth of the Mashiach on Tisha B'Av cannot be pushed away by anything bad, just like Shabbat cannot be pushed away by anything bad. Exactly the opposite. Shabbat pushes away all the bad things in Tisha B'Av. If Tisha B'Av falls on Shabbat, it's not that we fast or we mourn. No. If the Shabbat pushes away all the bad things of Tisha B'Av, no fasting, no mourning, but only revealing more the fact that now there's the Geula, there's going to be Mashiach any second. And especially on this Shabbat Tisha B'Av, it's Shabbat Chazon. This Shabbat that we're reading is going to be Shabbat Chazon. Is that right? Chazon miloshen mechazeh, machazeh, a revelation. Is that this Shabbat is going to be Shabbat Chazon? I think it is, isn't it? One minute. Yes. Shabbat Chazon, right. Shabbat Chazon, it's the vision of Isaiah. It says that it's shown to each and every person the future holy temple from far away. And especially when it's explained this in a mushal, in an example, it's brought a parable of a garment. What's the parable of the garment? It says this Shabbat is shown to the Jewish people. It's shown to the Jewish people from far away, the Holy Temple. Third Holy Temple. And the Rebbe Lubavitcher, he brought an example. Once upon a time, there was a king. And he had a beautiful son, prince. And he made for him a beautiful garment. And the son didn't respect the garment, he wrecked it. So the king made him another garment, made him a big warning, and treat the garment with respect. Don't go play baseball with the garment on. And the son did not respect it, so took it away from him. Then afterwards, the king said, "Okay, first of all, I'm not going to give you the garment until you get your act together. I want to see that you act in a mature, responsible way, and then I'm going to give you the garment. And just to show you what you're going to get is here's the garment you're going to get if you act properly." He shows them the third garment from far away. So it is with the temples. God gave us the first temple, we didn't respect it. The second temple, we didn't respect it. The third temple, we respect it. The third temple, we will respect it. And therefore, God shows us far away that if we just start acting the way we're supposed to, is this third temple is waiting for us. Even though that the example is talking about the holy temple, the house, and for whatever reason is, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak used the example of a garment. But this indicates the Gilui Mikdash Nimshach is drawn down, more revelation in a garment. What? The third temple is going to be a house. Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Ditcher said, I want to give you an example of a king with garments. Ask a question, why did Rabbi Levi Yitzchak have to use an example with garments, a king with garments? Why couldn't he just say a king once made a little house for his son, and his son didn't respect it? He brought it and he erected it. So he built another house. And the third house, the king put into into a special glass case. Why did he have to have a garment? Why? It's because a garment is closer to you. A garment is closer to you. Even though it's talking about because a garment is closer. Shekorov yoter la'adam, it's closer to a person. Like it says, the union of Big Day Kahuna, like the garments of the high priest. So it's moving, so it's understood that how much more so that the Gila, the revelation of the Jewish Savior, the Moshiach, on this day will be more powerful and more strength. Shabbat. Umugdash bo b'siyum, the Haftorah, Tzion b'mishpat tapara v'shaber v'tzedakah. That's what we're learning in the morning. So it says, don't worry about it. The Jewish people will be redeemed with justice and her prisoners with charity. With charity. So when it is going to happen, we are given a vision of the third temple in a close way, like a garment. We're given a vision. Don't give up. Don't give up hope. Don't give up Jewish identity. You can't give it up anyway. And in one instant, everything is going to change. That's this Shabbat is coming to teach us, as we'll learn more, God willing, tomorrow.